and I even put on my Jersey Justice hair because a lot of people said they liked it. I don't know, it got stuck in my lip gloss. Oh hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11, Episode 1. And of course, all I have to say is, Jorge, drink me. Ooh, look at you making another drink. Is it tequila? No, it's vodka? Oh, this is basically a screwdriver, but this is my signature screwdriver. I call it the fresh screw because it's made with fresh orange juice, I'm just saying. And if you would like to know how to make this, all you gotta do is join me on Patreon because I will be posting all my drink tutorials there for my subscribers. They'll show up here on YouTube after the fact. But if you want to get in on the cocktail recipe right away, go visit my Patreon page. It's a hoot. Screwy. We started the episode off with Miss Vanjie. Miss Vanjie! And she entered the workroom the way she exited the runway. Backwards. Good for her. Putting a little rewind on her season 10 Fox Paw. And I have to say, you can see she was a little nervous. Back, she had something to prove. There's only a few queens that have been brought back. Shangela, Cynthia Alley, and Eureka. Each one of them had something to prove. Same is true for Ms. Vanjie. It's probably why she hit off the top, so she could get a look at the competition before they got a look at her. Speaking of competition, the next girl into the workroom was Nina West. Now I have to say, I'm so excited to see her on RuPaul's Drag Race. She is my favorite type of queen. She's OTT, over the top. She's colorful, boisterous, and I just love her. I can't help myself. One of the things I was surprised to find out about Nina West is that she's applied for RuPaul's Drag Race 9 times. 9 times! I wouldn't tell anybody that. I can't believe that they had Magnolia Crawford on before they had Nina West. What was she doing in her videos? Nothing? Seriously. Someone else who shouldn't tell people things is Sugar Cane. She was next, and I love her too. I'm excited to see what she has to do, but I was gobsmacked that she has only been doing drag about 1.5 years. I am serious. Not because she looked bad. She looked good. She looked polished. Keep in mind, when Shangela was first on the show, she'd only been doing drag about 1.5 years, maybe even less. And here's Sugar Cane. Snatched, blended, sequined, proportioned. She looked good. And I'm expecting good things from her, too. Here's you, Shug. Well done. 1.5 years. Jesus. Next in the workroom doors was Plastique Tiara, the fish of the season. This girl is gorgeous. She also seems to have a great sense of humor and a great sense of presence. I like that. Next through the door was another fishy queen, Mercedes the Mon Diamond. She's also the first Muslim queen to be on anything, quite frankly. So we're already expecting big things from her. I mean, after that whole out of Africa scream that she did, it scared me a little. I went on a little longer than it needed to, too. But I have to say, I was a little surprised at Nina West for calling her a Buick under her breath. It worries me when my favorites show a touch of the Mean Girls, is all I'm saying. Speaking of Mean Girls, Scarlet Envy sauntered into the runway in her little Venus de Milo inspired nothing, quite frankly. The biggest thing she wore was that big sparkly jewel on her crotch, which, with all the jumping up and down she was doing, I have to say, it's gotta hurt after a few minutes. Just saying. It's a hell of a door knocker is all I'm saying. Let us in, Scarlet! Let us in. That said, I could look at this queen's face forever. I just think she's so stunning. But she also has a touch of the Mean Girl. She got that Kristen Stewart. She's that the actress from all those Twilight movies. She got that stank face on her. She just seems to be judging everybody a little harsher than she would judge herself, which I understand. She looked good. Honey Davenport was the next queen to buzz her way through the workroom doors, and as Davenport. We of course, are expecting a lot from her, but so are these other queens. They were like, well, how many Davenports are you? Well, season 12 will only be Davenports. I think that's actually a good idea for one of the shows. They should try and get as many queens from one drag family on and see how they do. Who's the best in the family? Seriously. I don't think they would all want to do it because even if they wanted to be the best, some of those queens know in their heart they're not. Just saying. It was at that point that the queens started speculating if they would be bringing another queen back from another episode, and then all guessed Miss Vanjie. And there she was. She seemed like a good moment. Everyone seemed happy to see her, which I'd like to point out wasn't the case for the rest of the episode. Just saying. Next through the workroom doors was another Davenport, Akira Davenport. That makes 2 Davenports. No waiting. Seriously. They're almost filled this season, never mind season 12, I'm just saying. But she's the pageant queen as well, and I just would like to have a moment to say, I don't understand why pageants are always such a bad word, and why being a pageant queen isn't always as respected as it can be. I think, seriously, there are different levels of drag. There's pageant drag, there's bar drag, there's video drag. There's a lot of drag out there. But I don't see why one group has to disparage another group. Maybe it's just that they're jealous of their gowns and jewels. Next through the workroom doors was, well, a remote control car. It was on the end of a green boa, and that was attached to Evie Oddly. I just love her. I'm so excited to see what she's going to do this season. And I love that she just threw the other queens off, especially the prettier ones, or the pageantier ones, or the more structured queens. Somebody like Evie is never going to be greeted well by these girls. They're going to wonder what the heck they're looking at. They wondered, what the hell are we looking at a car for? Well, you're not looking at the car. It's the thing at the end of the car. The car just drags your eye to it, you know? And that's the thing with Evie. I think she's going to drag, pun intended, everyone's eye to her by just being unique and different and unexpected every time. I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to say. I'm also looking forward to see how the other queens warm up to her, if they do. It's you, Evie. Ooh, smash. Next through the workroom doors was Silky Nutmeg Ganache, and she brought her own snacks. Who doesn't love that? I was super excited to see Silky on this season. I predicted that she would make top 3. I'm predicting that she'll be possibly the first big girl to win it all. And then I saw her interacting with other. Ooh, she's exhausting. I am just going to say, even Akira warned us that this is a queen that likes to talk. Really, Akira? Now a warning? You couldn't have said that sooner? Next time, say it sooner. Next time, walk in with a sign. Silky likes to talk. You know, in fact, I think I'm just going to call Silky Talkie for the rest of the season because, ooh, she does do that. Thank God the long arm of the Canadian law walked through the workroom doors next to restore a little order. And by long arm of the Canadian law, I mean Brooklyn Heights. And just give me a second. I need to put my Canadian fan outfit. This is our official I'm a Canadian and I love you look. And just saying, God bless Brooklyn Heights. She looked good. She seemed, as most Canadians are, a little subtle, a little subdued, not so quick to toot her own horn, even though she bends like that. But seriously, the only thing that the other queen seemed to really be worried about was that she won Miss Continental 2014. What I did find funny was Scarlet Envy with her Kristen Stewart stank face saying she wasn't impressed with Brooklyn Heights. Well, not the first girl to say something like that and then be forced to eat her own words after. Just saying, Scarlet, don't be a mean girl. I like you already, girl. Don't be a mean girl. I need a cocktail, Jorge. I'm not strong enough. Next through the workroom doors was a super cute and adorable Ariel Versace. All I have to ask is, how can a queen that wears that much makeup while she's in drag look exactly the same out of drag? Did anyone else think I would pick her Ariel Versace out of drag, out of the lineup, every time? I'm just saying. Now, this is a queen who's very popular on Instagram. I mean, she's the first one to tell you she has over 80,000 Instagram followers. But it seems to me that she doesn't want to be labeled an Instagram queen or a look queen or a fellow of the filter. I don't know. I don't know what she got, what kind of burr she got under her saddle for all of that. But that said, she's popular. She's pretty. This is the queen that's also an only child. I'm not expecting her to play well with others, or at least I think she's going to have issues sharing. Seriously. Raja O'Hara was the next queen through the workroom, and I just want to say I am not a queen who's going to judge another queen for an earring malfunction. Case in point. Just saying. But 2 earrings? Seriously. No wonder the other queens were throwing shade. Just saying. Next through the workroom doors was super confident Kahana Montrese. Now she is Coco Montrese's drag daughter, and in drag you can see a little bit of family resemblance, but out of drag, hey Kahana, I bet you she says a lot of stuff sexy out of drag. Look at that cute face, I'm just saying. Something that she did say though, was that rhinestones can be for pretty girls too. Is that a read? Do ugly girls overcompensate by sparkling it up? I mean, I'd like to point out, sans rhinestones. Sure, they're in my crown, but I'm sans rhinestones. Mind you, I think I'm a pretty queen too. Seriously. Last through the workroom doors was Soju, from Shot with Soju. If you've seen her reviews, then you know exactly who I'm talking about. If you haven't seen her reviews, then you may have just thought this was an Asian Michael Jackson impersonator, or possibly an Asian Elvis impersonator, or possibly somebody who does both. I don't know either way, but I thought it was funny that as she, her voiceover when she was walking into the workroom, that she likes to infuse a lot of her drag with Korean culture. Then why was she swinging Chinese nunchucks? It's just, I'm asking. I'm just asking. Seriously. But there was no time to ask Soju what her look meant, because there was Ru greeting the queens for the first time and giving them their first challenge, which, as we always know and love, is the photo shoot. Now, this photo shoot was interesting because instead of last year where they had to take a photo with all of the past winners, this was a photo shoot with past contestants from RuPaul's Drag Race, some winners, some not, and the queens had to basically art direct their own photo shoot and still stand out in the photo. This is not an easy thing for a lot of these queens to do because they get a little thrown off the hop. Case in point was Scarlett. When she thought it was just her doing a photo, she wasn't worried. But then there was Raja, scaring the crap out of her and then forcing her now to focus on other things. Now, I thought it was weird that she had herself lying on the sofa because nothing makes you lose focus than disappearing in a throw cushion array, is all I'm saying, which I felt she did. But then, by the time they took the proper photo, she was up on her knees, I think she's used to that position, and did draw a bit more focus. It was also super nice to see Raja. I love her when she's not calling people boogers. Just saying. Next up was Sugarcane, and she was paired with Jasmine Masters. And you know, it was a fun photo shoot. I thought it did well. I thought one of the things that helped Sugar out the most was that in the final photo, Jasmine Masters wasn't even looking at the camera, so it was all about Sugar. And I think that was a good plot on her part, I'm just saying. Honey Davenport was paired with her drag auntie-in-law. I can't believe I say some of these things, I'm just saying. Manila Luzon. Manila used to be partnered with Sahara Davenport, who, R.I.P., we all miss and love. But that's where the connection is. Because of that, they're connected in drag. Now, I didn't even recognize Manila right away because she was all in that blonde wig. And I have to say, because she was in white and in a blonde wig in that red room, the boring pose that Honey put them in, I'm sorry, but Honey disappeared. It was all about Manila in that photo. Sorry about it. Seriously. I'm not mad about it. I love me some Manila. Hey, Manila's awesome. Raja was paired with my girl, Ginger Minj. I love Ginger Minj, God bless her. But if I had been Raja and I was having earring issues before the photo shoot and nobody had adhesive to help me out, I would have ditched those earrings. I would have just had them go, because they seemed to be a bit of a distraction and limited what Raja O'Hara ended up creating for her and Ginger. The photo looked all right when it was all said and done, but I think it could have looked better. Seriously. Vanessa Vanjie Mateo was paired with poor Pink Pheromone, and I know the focus of this photo shoot was to be the focus of the photo shoot, but I don't think Ru or Albert Sanchez thought that turning the other queen to the wall and then standing in front of her was the best way to do it. I mean, Vanjie looked great in her photo, but she was the only one in it, quite frankly. I don't think that was the point. Just saying. Brooklyn Heights was paired with Angina, and their photo was weird. I'm just going to say it because, first of all, because Brooklyn Heights was dressed all in red, she kind of disappeared into the background. It was just her blonde head, and that was mostly it. And then there with Angina stuck up on her hip, with her face back, she looked like she was in the middle of a long jump or something. Like, you know, it just was a weird photo. But still, yay, Canada. Just saying. Plastique Tiara was paired with Sonique, and the only thing that I have to say about that photo is I wish Sonique hadn't been in it. Not that Sonique didn't look good, but Plastique looked fantastic, the way she arranged herself on that sofa with her dress all out behind her. Really, Sonique was almost a distraction to that photo because I couldn't take my eyes off Plastique, which is, of course, the point. Soju was paired with Victoria Porkchop Parker, and I just love Victoria. So I was a little sad to see her relegated to the background of Soju's photo. I mean, I certainly think that's one of the reasons why it wasn't a good photo. That and the fact that I just hated Soju's outfit. Just me? Never been a fan of Elvis, just saying. Ariel Versace got Eureka O'Hara and didn't seem much too pleased about it, I'm just saying. Or maybe that's just how she goes through life. I don't know her. But she did throw a little shade at Eureka, whether it was meant as a joke or not. But their photo was meh, which I have to say, I was expecting more from a queen that has 80,000 plus followers on Instagram. Maybe it needed a filter. I don't know, because I don't use them. Nina was paired with the legendary Raven, and I just have to say, I was so distracted at how tanned Raven was. I think she and Shug are getting a 2-for-1 deal down at the tanning salon. I'm just saying. But that said, their photo was all right. It wasn't great. I mean, Nina was the best thing out of that photo, and I think by sticking food in her face, it kind of distracted you from looking at Raven, but still, not the best picture. Sorry about it. Mercedes Amon Diamond was paired with the stunning, legendary beauty Delta Work, but she had no idea what to do with her, God bless. And their photo really reflected that. I mean, thank God Delta brought her cheekbones, because that whole photograph hung off them. I'm just saying. Kahana was paired with the blocked out brows of Derek Barry, and they seemed to have some fun. They enjoyed what they were doing, but it looked to me, when it was all said and done, that possibly Kahana was channeling Derek's performance at the Hater Roast. You know, the one I'm talking about. Akira was another queen who seemed to be stymied by her ideas, or lack thereof, for the photo shoot. Which is too bad, because she was paired with Kamara Black, and Kamara looked fantastic. In fact, if you ask me, I thought she looked a lot like Pete Burns. You know, before Pete Burns stopped looking like Pete Burns. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Taki Ganache was paired with Mariah Balenciaga, and I don't know if it was because Taki was focused on styling a fabulous photo, or maybe she just got tired. I don't know what it was, but this is the quietest she'd been all day. That said, I also can see why she won Best Photo. She looked gorgeous. The setup was nice. Everyone looked good. But Taki's one of those queens. Her transformation is spectacular. She couldn't look more beautiful in drag, and she proved it in this photo. So here's to you, Taki. Maybe talking isn't how you should start your day. And one of my faves, Evie Oddly, was paired with another one of my faves from a past season, Adore Delano. Adore. And I was excited for their photo. And in fact, I think they had a good photo in general. I just wish they'd been closer together in it, because that expanse between them really made Rue's portraits the star of that photo shoot. I'm just saying. So when the lights stopped flashing and the cap was put back on the camera, it was Taki Ganache who won Best Picture. And you could see it pissed off a couple of those queens. Scarlet Envy. Just saying. And then it was time for the queens to get out of drag. And this is always fun, because it separates the thirsty queens, Soju, from the trade, Kahana. So as the queens were checking each other out, Rue re-entered the workroom with some bad news. Their luggage was missing in action, which, as you can understand, to a drag queen, there's no worse thing to say to them. You have no luggage. But Ru had a solution, which was a bunch of trunks filled with materials inspired by past drag competitors. And because Taki Ganache won the photo this week, she got to assign the trunks. And I think she did a good job in general. I mean, she picked the biggest trunk for herself. I can understand why she'd think that there was going to be a lot of stuff in it. So good for her. But as for the rest of the queens, she said that she matched them all up accordingly to what she felt was close to who they were already. And quite frankly, I believe her. I think she did a good job. Seriously. Akaria got BB's trunk. Uniquely unique Evie Oddly got the equally unique Alaska's trunk, and I think that that was a match made in heaven. Seriously. Plus, I loved her makeup and hair, or lack thereof. She looked good. Soju got Kim Chi's trunk, and I think that was appropriate because they're both queens from Chicago. They're both Korean. But can I just say I can't believe this is the first time Soju's ever made a dress. Shame on her. She has been interviewing these queens every season of RuPaul's Drag Race. She knows where they've all tripped up. She's seen it time and time again. You do not make your first dress on RuPaul's Drag Race. You make it when you get the call you're going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm so serious. That's it. I'm just going to do a tutorial. I'm going to teach the children myself. Auntie Wilma's here to help. Seriously, I need a cocktail after that declaration. Also, I just have to say, I think it was a big fox paw on Soju's part to not take Ms. Vanjie's advice, a queen who was kicked off the first episode for using too much tulle, which is exactly what she called Soju out for. A lot of tulle, a lot of knots. Naughty tulle. Ooh, my drag queen name in high school. Ariel Versace got Laganja, and she seemed to be okay with that. I thought she did an excellent sewing job as well. And it was a happy intersection between her style and the material out of Laganja's trunk, so good for her. Brooklyn Heights got Detox's trunk, and she seemed to be okay with that. I don't think she was worried one way or the other. She just seemed to get right to work right away to, assess her options. Atakanak. Kahana got Katya and was super okay with that. They're both gymnast backgrounds, they're both dancer-ish, and Kahana just seemed to think that she was going to do a great job, and I have to say I had to agree with her out of the gate because she had those scissors out and she was just cutting fabric left, right, and center. To me, she looked like she knew what she was doing. Raja O'Hara got Kennedy's trunk. The best thing about Raja's outfit was that it sparkled. I mean, beyond that, it was all right, but it didn't do much for me. I mean, seriously, she had to use every color. Every color. Mercedes Amon Diamond got Bianca Del Rio's, and I have to admit, I didn't much remember what the hell Mercedes Amon Diamond had on once I was blinded by the glare off her forehead. Did anyone else, like right away out of the gate, I'm so glad Michelle brought it up because it was just distracting, like she was about to show a movie on her face or something, just flat and reflective looking. Not the best look for any look. I don't care whose trunk you're using. Seriously. Nina West got Thorgy Thor's trunk, which I again thought was a good match. Thorgy's over the top, Nina's OTT for sure, but again, I can't believe this is the first time somebody's making a dress. Now, in Nina's defense, she said that she knew how to sew, she just wasn't that good at it. And I just have to say, I think she oversold herself. She definitely cannot sew. I'm so serious. Ugh. Seriously, a tutorial. That's how I'm going to solve the problem. Watch Wilma before you do RuPaul's Drag Race. It's the cabin. Just that. Sugar Cane got Sharon Needles, and I just have to say, I was very impressed with what Sugar Cane came up with, because I think that her and Sharon are very different queens. And there was a lot of dark fabric in Sharon's trunk, and I think Sugar used it to the absolute best of her ability. I mean, I have to remind myself that it was Sharon Needles' trunk she had. In fact, it wasn't until she turned to the side and I saw the Ouija board thing that I was like, oh right, that's Sharon Needles' trunk. Another girl who I thought did incredibly well, Plastic Tiara, because she had Sasha Velour's trunk, and one of the things they had in Sasha's trunk with a lot of red and a lot of petals and roses and stuff. And her look, I thought, was stunning. Very similar to what she walked into the workroom in. So, At least she knows how to make her own signature look, is what I'm saying. Honey Davenport got Ben de la Creme, and as much as I love that Ben de la Creme leopard print and all, I think the only thing I really liked about what Honey ended up with was that big flower on her head. She didn't do the worst job, but I don't know, I thought she could have done a little better, I'm just saying. Miss Vanjie got Valentina's trunk, and even though the PTSD was bearing down on her, I thought she redeemed herself beautifully. The look she created was gorgeous. It looked very couture and very well put together. So here's to you, Miss Vanjie. You tackled your demons and you came out the other side a winner. Let's see how far you go now. Taki Ganache got Peppermint's trunk, and she gave that one to herself because it was the biggest trunk. But, as I said, she was really surprised that there was a lot more fabric in it. I mean, not that there wasn't fabric in it, it just seemed that there weren't more than 2 meters of fabric. Now, I'm a big girl. I'm 2 meters tall. I'm 6'4". I'm more than 2 meters tall. And I'll tell you right now, I could make an outfit or a couple of pieces out of at least 2 meters, a top and a skirt. You can do it. I think the problem with Taki Ganache wasn't that she wasn't able to make an outfit, it was that she wasn't able to shut up long enough to do it. And by running herself all over that workroom and everything, she really started to wear on those queens' nerves. I mean, nothing is more obvious of that than the moment she screamed, "Attitude check," and nobody said nothing. Take the hint, Taki. Shut your yap. So while the queens were bitching and stitching, we were let in a little secret. We had an infiltrator in the ranks. It was Miley Cyrus. Cyrus. How many of these are just the one? It's very good. Miley Cyrus was going undercover to check out the girls before they hit the runway. And I have to say, she looked cute. I love it when girls are in drag. I love drag king drag because there's less distraction. At least with drag makeup, you put glitter on stuff and distract people from it. But when you're trying to pass as just a guy, guys don't do a lot of glitter. You know what I'm saying? So I was a little disappointed that Miley still looked like she had a lot of makeup on. She just seemed to have still a lot of eyeshadow on, even with that little scruff on her face and everything. And also didn't look like she was bound, that she wasn't wearing a binder or anything. So I probably would have, out of the corner of my eye, thought, what's going on over there anyway? So it was no surprise to me that Taki Ganache right away said, "How you doing?" And Miley, "How you doing?" She knew who it was within a minute, and of course lost her lunch. So much so that none of the queens could get near her. She had to do her wrecking ball impersonation with Miley Cyrus up on her shoulders for at least a good hot minute before any of the other queens could get near her. And of course this just stoked the fire of hate that some of them already had for Ms. Taki Ganache, I'm just saying. Once the shock of Miley being in the room abated itself, she had some great advice for the queens about nerves and about what they're looking for as judges, or what any fan of RuPaul's Drag Race is looking for. Personality. Be the best you can be. Be unapologetic about it. And I think that it certainly resonated with a couple of those queens as they were getting ready for the runway, which of course was next. And I just have to say, I really did like this dress that RuPaul wore for the runway. I know a lot of people haven't. I think some people have said a few things. But what was interesting is if you watch Michelle's What You Packing with Soju, I think Soju had a dress made out of that exact same fabric, which is very interesting. So maybe on one level it was good that Soju got kicked out early so that there wasn't any who wore it best going on for this. I'm just saying. But that said, I liked Ru's look. I thought she looked good. But she certainly breezed through those judges' introductions. It was like, Michelle, Kirsten, Mary, Ross. And then Miley, she got to say something, but only because I think she was a guest. Seriously. Then the queens hit the runway. Brooklyn Heights stomped it out in her lovely, I can't believe she made, catsuit. She made that catsuit. Take a note. That's how you show up on RuPaul's Drag Race. You should be able to sew at least that. And Brooklyn did, and she looked great. I'm not going to say this was my best outfit, it wasn't, but her walk down that runway was everything. RuPaul is right. Get your butts to a dance class, children. Seriously, yay Brooklyn. Akiria looked stunning. I can't believe she made all that. The chaps, the bathing suit, that whole thing looked spectacular, which is a reason why I was just more impressed by that than what Brooklyn had made. Because we've seen girls go down that runway in chaps before and they've never looked that good. I think Akira's got a great new side gig for herself. Chaps for everyone, I'm just saying. Scarlett's another one whose sewing skills impressed the heck out of me. I mean, Cow Patty had aside, I thought she looked fantastic. That dress literally was made to measure. It hit her in all the right places. Even that little mermaid flare started at her knee. The hem was even. She did an excellent job. Good for her. Of course, Soju confused me. I mean, even in her voiceover, she says she likes to bring her own little sense of style to everything she does, but she was using kimchi's material in a Korean traditional inspired costume. Where was the originality? I just saw nothing of Soju in that except her interest in reflecting her culture, which is too bad that, I'm just going to say it, kimchi does it better. Just saying. Taki Ganache's outfit was all right. I think when it was all said and done, I mean, she had all the glitter in the right place and it was distracting in the right way. So it certainly was at least a safe outfit for her after all of her talking and everything. I just wonder what she would have made if she'd focused and knuckled down and done it. Am I the only one? Nina West's look reminded me completely of Bette Midler. You know, from the neck up. From the neck down, I agree with Carson. She looked like a blood disease. And not in a good way, I am just saying. That said, it was clear that it was her personality that kept her on the winning side of safe. I'm just saying. Kahana's outfit was such a disappointment. I mean, regardless of what she did or didn't end up making, I think the only thing she made was that one-armed bandit that she had on. But those tights that she wore stopped at the crotch. Why she didn't make a little skirt to hide that, or even if you notice, they stopped, the rhinestones stopped at her ankle too, and she had that open strappy T-strap shoe. I would have had a little bootlet on or something just to hide the end of those rhinestones, because seriously, it just looked odd. Her legs looked odd, and it was no surprise that she ended up in the bottom along with Soju. God bless them both. Now I have to say, as unsurprised as I am with them both being in the bottom, I was super surprised at Kahana's performance. I didn't think that Soju was going to win, and I was right. But the point was, I'd seen a lot of Soju's work before on the tubes, and Ariel even said, well, you're not a performing queen, so what do you do? Well, Soju can perform, but as I said in my review of the cast, she's not doing much more than performing. She's lip-syncing all right, she's performing all right, but she's not doing more than that. The girl I thought was going to do more than that was Kahana, but even her, I thought she would do better. Maybe it's because she was up against Soju and didn't have to try so hard. Even that backflip she did kind of seemed a little busted to me. But either way, it was just by the skin off her teeth. I didn't want to say that because she's missing one. She can't afford too much skin off any teeth at this point. But seriously, it was just by the grace of Ru that Kahana stayed. Or maybe it was because Soju was that much worse than her. But she was safe. Of course, the winner of this week's episode was Brooklyn Heights. Yay, Canada. I am so pleased that Brooklyn hit it that hard out of the gate. It certainly will put her on everyone's radar for the rest of the season. And let's hope that it's a long season for Miss Heights. As for Soju, she sashayed away. And that's the first queen down. Who do you think's going to be next? I think Kahana really needs to watch out for herself. I'm also surprised that I'm saying this, but I think Mercedes the Mon Diamond has to watch out too. Now, next week's episode is apparently an acting challenge, so I'm hoping that some of these personality queens will turn it around for themselves, like Nina West. But that said, it's still early. Anybody could be next. Who do you think should be the next to go? Who do you think should be the one to stay? Has any of the queens that have been on now, your opinion of them changed after seeing them on the first episode? Well, the only thing we can do is tune in next week for episode 2 of season 11. And when you're done, you come on back and you see me so you and I can compare notes. In the meantime, I just want to announce I have a Patreon page. I do. I would like to thank Viking Bitch for, that's her name online. I don't call her that because if you're a Viking, I don't want to be calling you a bitch too, do you know what I'm saying? But still, she's one of the people that have over the years been urging me to put a Patreon page up. So I've done it. And if you would like to join it, I've got a link down below. Also, don't forget, there's Wilma merchandise available on Redbubble. I would like to thank all of the people that have bought stuff so far. I also, here's a picture of Heather in a hoodie. This is a zip front hoodie you can get Wilma on. Now, of course, this design is my Sweet Marie and the Ships at Sea design, but Lara D'Souza's Jorge Drink Me is also there. You can get t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, whatever you want, it's all there. And that link is down below too. Also, like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. Woo! Oh.